So you put all this time and energy into networking and meeting other people, and you've made the connection. Now, what do you do to nurture it over time? Something I get asked quite a bit was recently in a workshop I was teaching, and someone said, hey, how do I nurture the relationships of people I met? And then especially, what do I do if it's been a long time since I met somebody 6 months ago and I didn't reach out to them and I haven't connected with them? What do I do now? Let me address that first, because I think that's really important. And by the way, very common. I think any successful business owner probably has lots of people they've met. They fully intended to reach out and then didn't. I'm in that camp myself. That's happened many times. In fact, last night I received a text message and then a phone call from a friend of mine who said, hey, I referred so-and-so to you and he reached out and said he hasn't connected with you. What's going on? So it was a friendly reminder. And I thought back and I said, I sent an initial email and then neither one of us followed up from there. So let me reach back out. And I just leaned right into it. I said, hey, so-and-so introduced us. It's been 4 months or whatever. I got busy. My apologies, but hey, I'm really looking forward to connecting with you. Are you open? And we scheduled a call for tomorrow. Like, it's that simple. Just lean into it. The worst thing you can do is just now avoid it. If it's somebody you really want to talk to, reach out and just make that connection. Lean into that piece that it's been a while. The reality is that busy, successful entrepreneurs, time is like sort of irrelevant in that. There's people that reach out to me that like, I felt like it was 4 or 5 months ago, but when I look at my email, it was a year ago. Like, time is sort of irrelevant in that. They're busy too, they're productive. They're not sitting around going, I wonder if that person's gonna reach out to me. It's not happening. So don't worry about how long it's been. It's totally irrelevant. Just lean right into it. But now that you've made the connections, what do you do to nurture those over time? There's a couple of key things that I do, and there's probably many more, but this is sort of the way that I look at doing it. One of the things that I do is I can only really connect with so many people at a time. So I do something called my top 20 list, and I look at my top 20 people that I want to continue to nurture that relationship with. And I then go into, for me, I go into Instagram. I go into Instagram and I follow those people. And when I spend time on social media, just did this morning, I quickly look through the stories at the top. Like, what are the things that those people are doing? And the reason why that's important is now I'm connected into what's going on in their life. What's fascinating is because, and one of the additional reasons I like doing it on Instagram is the more that I do that, the more those people just show up in order. It's really fascinating. I don't understand how that all works, but the way I understand it is the more that I just keep looking at those people and clicking on their stories, the more they just show up in order. And so for me, it's a really quick way to plug into what they're doing. Now that I know what they're doing, the key is I'm gonna make comments. I'll give you an example. There's a lady that I met at a mastermind a couple months ago, and I think there's a lot of synergy and a lot of opportunities, and I wanna nurture that relationship. She posted on her story yesterday, and other people were sharing posts of her teaching at a workshop herself. And so I just simply made a comment, congrats on teaching at this workshop. You're always adding value to other people. Like, just a recognition that I've recognized what she's doing. Is that simple. It literally took me 10 seconds to do. And of course, she sent me back a quick message. It's just those touch points that I'm trying to do. And that's the way you can use social media instantly to nurture those relationships, to identify them, stay connected, and then add recognition. One of the other things I like to do is have a platform where I can send a quick voice message to people. So you can use things like Voxer. It's like a walkie-talkie app. We use Workplace. And one of the things I like about that is in the morning, as I'm sort of getting ready and sort of studying, thinking about the day, often people will come to mind. It could be people I have a good relationship with. It could be people I'm trying to build a relationship with. And one of my favorite things to do is to just send a quick recorded message because it stands out. You can do it through Facebook Messenger. There's lots of platforms, and it's one of the ways to stand out. I remember the first time that I connected with somebody, it was probably 3 years ago. I connected with somebody on Facebook, just friend request, liked, and his initial response was he sent me through Messenger a voice message, and it like blew me away. I'll never forget it because everyone just sort of accepts and moves on. But he sent me a message like this. He said, hey Chaz, thanks for following me or connecting on Facebook. I'm curious, how did we connect or who connected us? Just that simple. And then I messaged him back with voice and said, hey, this couple said that we needed to connect, so I reached out to you on Facebook. Of course, then he replies and he draws in that connection. He's a master at this. Says, oh, they're amazing people. So he recognizes them and then says something like, what's the best way I can add value to you? And all of a sudden I'm like, man, this guy is nurturing this relationship at such a high level, using the tools and platforms that are available to us that most of us are just consumers of. We just consume it instead of being producers of it and using them to grow and nurture relationships. It's always fascinated me. I loved the voice text because having never met him in person, it allowed me to feel a connection to him. It allowed me to sort of imagine, obviously looking at pictures and hearing his voice now, imagine who he is, and tells me a little bit more about how he operates, right? So that's why I love voice text. It's a great way to stand out. It's a great way to add connection because it takes a few extra seconds, right? Not long, to just record a simple message. Not to mention, and probably the most important thing, is that often in text, in email, in just, written word, your tone, things can get just lost in translation. And so being able to say it and verbalize it with passion or energy or excitement is a way to stand out. And so that's one of the things that I do to nurture that. And then lastly, look for things, for example, birthdays, holidays, others, things that they're excited about that you could then send them a gift. Probably once, twice a year. For people that are in your top 20, just look for an opportunity to send something. So for example, in the holiday times, I have something I've done as a tradition now for a number of years. I look at my partners and I send them all boxes of pears. These pears are amazing. They get them at Christmas. They all look forward to it. In fact, if they didn't get their pears, they probably reach out and say, hey, are you still alive? What's happening? I didn't get my pears. But I send that out to them every year. I also look for opportunities to send little things to people, throughout the year when they come up important to them. What's specific to them? These are the things that you can do to nurture these relationships and stand out. Because remember, in business, it's important to do this because everything you have of significance will come through a relationship. If you're looking at how to grow your business and you're looking at what do I do, it's not so much what, it's who. Who do I connect with? Who could take me to the next level? Who is the person that already has the trust of my ideal client? In a previous video, I talk about ideal clients. You can go back and watch that to learn how to identify your ideal client. But somebody already has their trust. Somebody already has their ears. So who do I need to connect with? When you've identified that, use these methods to stay connected to them. This is something I wished I'd learned early on. I'm glad I know it now. I'm glad that I pushed through and helped do these things to grow my business. If you do this, you'll be successful in growing your business.